Oh, hello. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, seasons, felicitations, and wipe your feet.
My friends have something very special for you.
We're not going to open it before Christmas.
It's the world's biggest Christmas card.
Oh, but sweetheart.
Classic Christmas Radio Theater.
God bless us, everyone.
Yes, tiny Tim. God bless us, everyone.
Featuring some of the greatest Christmas radio shows of all time.
Attaboy, Clarence. Attaboy.
And now here's your host and my biggest elf, Wyatt Cox.
We go to the movies this hour with an episode of the Screen Directors Playhouse from 72 years ago, The Miracle on 34th Street. Natalie Wood and Edmund-Guenn star in their original screen role. This episode of the Screen Directors Playhouse was originally broadcast on Friday, December 23rd, 1949. In some of the headlines of that day, President Truman said he does not believe General Eisenhower is a candidate for president, but agreed a lot of people have been trying to make him one ever since he left the Army. A third below freezing night closed in on Southern California citrus growers as the cold brought a new record load of Fresno in the San Joaquin Valley and undetermined damage to vegetable crops farther north in the Sacramento area. Meanwhile, in Chicago, a record-breaking warm wave covered the east, but ice storms and wintry weather in the western two-thirds of the nation held responsible for at least 23 deaths. The Atomic Energy Commission last night named a special advisory panel headed by Vice President John S. Bogus of the Ford Motor Company to study atomic security questions. An Agriculture Department farm survey indicated yesterday the 1950 supplies of pork may set a new peacetime record. The West Berlin city government announced yesterday sausage will be unrationed after January 1st. Oh, Mrs. W.H. Spencer arrived at her home in San Antonio and found a burglar had ransacked the place, and her watchdog Fritz was missing. Well, a policeman sped to the scene and checked the grounds, and Fritz ran up and bit the policeman 3 times. Not the way for things to go. Oh, and Governor Thomas Dewey in New York, viewing New York City's water shortage as a long-range problem, said the state and the city will cooperate in efforts to solve it. Some things never end. That's some of the news from the newspapers of Friday, December 23rd, 1949. Miracle on 34th Street is up next on this special edition of Classic Christmas Radio Theater. Now on Classic Christmas Radio Theater, we head to the movies, the Screen Directors Playhouse, Miracle on 34th Street, as it was broadcast Friday, December 23rd, 1949.
From Hollywood, the Screen Directors Playhouse.
Screen Directors Playhouse, star Edmund-Guenn, production Miracle on 34th Street, director George Seaton.
The Hollywood Screen Directors present a Christmas party for the 500 special girls and boys gathered here in NBC's Hollywood studios, and for children of all ages everywhere. We present the motion picture Christmas story, Miracle on 34th Street, starring Edmund-Guenn in his original Academy Award-winning role of Kris Kringle.
You don't believe in Santa Claus? Well, why not? Santa Claus believes in you.
The jaunty, portly little man with the white whiskers swung his cane as he walked in the brisk November morning. He walked into a department store famous across the nation, Macy's 34th Street, New York, crowded amiably into the elevator, and got out at the employment office. It seems a Mrs. Doris Walker was the lady to see up there. Mrs. Walker.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes?
You'll be needing a Santa Claus for your toy department this Christmas. I wish to apply for the position.
Well, we do need a Santa Claus if you're qualified.
Oh, I'm eminently qualified.
Do you like children?
Who doesn't?
Do you have any children?
Millions of them.
Well, I must certainly say you look like Santa Claus.
Well, I certainly should look like Santa Claus.
You won't even need padding.
Oh, no, I carry my own.
Now, you understand that Macy's has a line of toys that you may recommend with complete confidence.
I assume that I'm hired?
Yes, can you start tomorrow morning, Mr.
Kringle.
What?
Kringle. I'm Kris Kringle.
The new Santa Claus was positively the most sensational Santa Claus who had ever held court on Macy's 7th floor. He was the real article, all right. He had that deep-down, genuine, crisp Kris Kringle crinkle in his eyes. And if he told you anything, you could depend on it.
Electric trains? Why, yes, Peter. Yes, madam, right over that way. Realistic models of the Chief and Super Chief. Now, what about you, little girl? Huh? Oh, yes, madam. We have wonderful skates here, but not quite what your little boy seems to want. Now, I'd suggest you go across the street to Gimbel's.
Gimbel's?
Oh, yes, I keep track of the toy market pretty closely. What, does that surprise you, Sue?
Macy's sending me to another store?
Well, the only important thing is to make the children happy, isn't it? Huh? And whether Macy's or somebody else sells the toy doesn't make any difference.
Well, it's wonderful. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Well, you can get it at the Acme Toy Company. Only $8.50 plus tax.
And so it went. And so the customers went. To other stores if Macy's didn't have it. The grown-ups began to believe in Santa Claus as much as the children. All except one small child named Susan Walker, who finally came to Kris Kringle, a skeptical look on her small face and a prodding young man at her back.
Well, young lady, and what would you like for Christmas?
Go ahead, Susan. Tell Santa what you'd like.
What's your name, little girl?
Susan Walker, and I don't believe in Santa Claus.
Oh.
My mother happens to be Mrs. Walker, the lady who hired you.
Well, your daddy here believes I'm Santa Claus, I'll bet.
He's not my daddy. My father and mother are divorced. This is Mr. Gailey, who lives in the apartment next to ours.
I see.
He's a lawyer at law.
Attorney at law, Susan.
He pretends he brought me to see you, but he really came to visit Mother.
Oh. Really?
Oh, brother.
I must say you're the best-looking Santa Claus Mother ever hired.
Oh, thank you.
Your whiskers aren't loose at the side.
Well, that's because they're real. Just like I'm really Santa Claus.
Oh, now stop.
Now, go ahead. Come on, pull them.
Pull them?
Go ahead.
All right.
Oh, ouch.
Well, they're on pretty tight, all right.
Now what would you like me to bring you for Christmas?
Susan.
There's Mother now.
I'm dead.
Susan, Mr. Gailey, I told you not to bring Susan down here.
But your maid is out sick, and Susan was alone
Mr.
at home.
Gailey, I am bringing Susan up to face reality.
Well, in reality, he came to see you, Mrs. Walker.
Really, Mr. Gailey, will you step this way, please?
Yes, ma'am.
What's your name?
Kris Kringle.
That's your trade name. I mean your real name.
Santa Claus.
We can talk here, Fred.
Now, Doris...
I keep telling Susan that Santa Claus is a myth, and you bring her down here to see thousands of children like herself worshiping a very convincing old man with real whiskers. What's she to think? What's she to believe?
Whatever makes her happy.
Well, I don't want my child growing up to consider life a fairy tale instead of reality. They keep waiting for a Prince Charming to come along, and when he does, he turns out to be someone
Someone they'll have to divorce?
We were talking about Susan.
Oh.
In fact, I'm going to have to talk to that Santa Claus about Susan before he goes to lunch.
Yes, Mrs. Walker?
The reason I called you into my office was to have you tell Susan here that you're not Santa Claus.
Yeah, but I am Santa Claus.
See, Mother? A girl doesn't know what to think these days.
I want you to tell her the truth. Now, what's your name?
Kris Kringle.
See?
I mean your real name.
Well, that is my real name.
Now, see here, Excuse me a moment.
Yes, Mrs. Walker.
Miss Thomas, will you get out an employment card filled out by a Mr. Kris Kringle, if there is one? I'll wait.
I'll bet you're in the first grade, Susan.
Second.
Second?
I'm very advanced.
Oh.
Here it is, Mrs. Walker. Mr. Kris Kringle.
No.
Yep, Kris Kringle. Residence, Brooks Memorial Home for the Aged. Age as old as my tongue and a little older than my teeth.
Oh, no.
Do you know what I think?
Yes, the same thing I think.
I think he's nuts.
That's what I think.
He really believes he's Santa Claus.
With bells on.
Well, you better get rid of him. He might be dangerous.
Thank you, Miss Thomas. I agree. Mr. Kringle, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to make a change.
Have I done something wrong?
Well, no, that is not wrong. But, excuse me. Yes?
Mr. Macy's on the phone.
Oh, put him on.
Mrs. Walker.
Yes, Mr. Macy?
I've just heard about your new Santa Claus.
Oh, yes, Mr. Macy. I was just going into that, Mr. Macy.
The very idea of his telling people that if Macy's doesn't have it, to go to Gimbel's.
Well, I have him right... Gimbel's?
Directly across the street.
Imagine Macy's Santa Claus sending customers to Gimbel's. Wonderful.
Huh?
The public response is wonderful. We're getting to be known as the helpful store, the friendly store, the store that places public service ahead of profits. And consequently, we'll make more profit than ever.
Yes, sir.
Great idea, Mrs. Walker. Great work. Keep it up.
Yes, Mr. Macy.
And above all, keep that Santa Claus.
Keep him? But he's...
He's great.
But, Mr. Macy, I don't...
Goodbye, Mrs. Walker.
Mr. Macy, Mr. Mr. Kringle.
Yes?
Mr. Macy suggests that we try you out a little longer.
Well, that's mighty good news, Mrs. Walker. You see, this is quite an opportunity for me. Yes, for the last 50 years or so, I've been getting more and more worried about Christmas. Seems we're all so busy trying to beat the other fellow in making things go faster and look shinier and cost less. But Christmas and I are sort of getting lost in the shuffle.
And Christmas is still Christmas.
Oh, but it isn't just a day. It's a frame of mind. And that's what's been changing. That's why I'm glad I'm here. Maybe I can do something about it. Oh, I'm glad I met you and your daughter.
Thank you.
You two are a kind of test case for me.
What's a test case?
Well, if I can make you and your mother believe in me...
Speaking of tests, Mr. Kringle, would you kindly report to Mr. Sawyer's office the first thing tomorrow morning?
Mr. Sawyer?
Yes, he'll give you an examination.
A mental examination?
Oh, it's just routine. All of our employees are required to take an examination.
Oh, I don't mind. I've taken dozens of examinations. Never failed one yet. I'll see Mr. Sawyer first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Mrs. Walker. Bye, Susan.
Goodbye, Mr. Kringle.
Oh, excuse me, Chris.
I was just leaving. Bye. Bye-bye.
Hello, Doris. How are you, Susan?
I'm fine. Mother's got problems.
Fred, I'm worried about Mr. Kringle.
Worried? Why?
Well, I think he's mentally unsound.
I think he's a fantastic, delightful, and unselfish human being. And if being delightful, unselfish, and human is bad, what's good?
Well, Mr. Macy likes him, so I have to keep him. But not if he's insane.
Oh, nonsense.
Well, he thinks he's Santa Claus.
Well, maybe he is.
Well, suppose he gets worse. Suppose he gets violent.
Chris?
Nevertheless, I'm having Mr. Sawyer question him tomorrow. Only, how can I be sure that Kringle will even show up tomorrow?
It's easy. I'll take him home with me tonight and bring him to work in the morning.
Oh, would you?
All you have to do is to marry me.
Fred.
When I can afford it.
Do it, Mother.
Susan.
Well, then at least have me in to dinner tonight with Mr. Kris Kringle, my house guest of honor.
Well, that evening, Kris Kringle went home with Fred Gailey. And after dinner in Doris Walker's apartment next door, Chris left Fred and Doris to discuss child psychology, or something, and stole quietly into Susan's bedroom. Susan, sophisticated child, was in bed, blowing bubblegum bubbles.
Oh, that was a big one.
Susan, why don't you give me a chance to prove to you that I'm really Santa Claus?
There is no Santa Claus.
Oh, now there must be something you want for Christmas.
Mother will get me anything I want.
Oh, but there must be something she can't get you.
Well...
There is something.
I'd like a house.
What, you mean a doll's house?
No, a real house. To live in.
A real house?
If you're really Santa Claus, you can get it for me. If you can't, you're only a nice man with a white beard, like Mother says.
Oh, but you've got this lovely apartment to live in.
I want a backyard to play in, and grass, and a white picket fence and rose bushes. But Mother can't afford it, and I guess you can't get it, huh?
Oh, no, I didn't say that, you know. Well, I've got to see Mr. Sawyer first thing in the morning. I'll get right to work on it after that, Susan, tomorrow.
Now, tell me, Kringle, how many days in the week?
7.
Who was the first president of the United States?
George Washington.
How much is 3 times 5?
Well, you asked me that before.
I'm conducting this examination. Now it's just 3 times 5.
Well, same as it was before. 15. You're rather nervous, Mr. Sawyer. Aren't you? Do you get enough sleep?
Never mind. How many fingers am I holding up?
3? Oh, you bite your nails, too. You know, sometimes nervous habits like yours are the result of insecurity.
I didn't ask you.
Oh, I just want to be helpful.
I didn't ask for help, you fuzzy old crackpot.
Mr. Sawyer, that's hardly the proper way to conduct a mental examination.
Oh, you... I'm wasting my time on a hopeless case. Get out.
Mr. Sawyer.
I said get out.
Mr. Sawyer, I have great respect for psychiatry and great contempt for imposters and quacks.
I beg your pardon.
I should like to see your degree in medicine.
Get out.
Also proof of your specialization in psychiatry.
Get out. Get out.
Now, either you stop analyzing people, or I'm going to tell Mr. Macy what a contemptible, vicious, malicious fraud you really are.
I'll have you committed to an insane asylum.
Well, you're the one who needs treatment.
You lunatic, are you saying I'm crazy?
Now, put down that inkwell.
Put down that cane.
Put down that inkwell.
You go first.
I'd better. You're dangerous.
When he recovered, Mr. Sawyer jingled Bellevue. And that is how Santa Claus, alias Kris Kringle, found himself that very morning in the violent ward at Bellevue Hospital.
You are listening to the Screen Directors Playhouse presentation of Miracle on 34th Street, starring Edmund-Guenn in his original Academy Award-winning role of Kris Kringle.
Late that afternoon, Fred Gailey, attorney at law, came to visit Kris Kringle in the violent ward at Bellevue Hospital.
All right, now, Kris, why did you do it?
Why did I conk Mr. Sawyer?
Why did you fail your examination by the doctors here at Bellevue? You did it deliberately.
I did. I said the first president of the United States was Calvin Coolidge.
But why?
Well, Fred, the last few days, I had a feeling people were warming up towards each other. Macy's sending customers to Gimbel's. Gimbel's sending customers to Macy's. Gimbel and Macy shaking hands. Wyszynski saying yes. People were beginning to make some sense, even if Doris did doubt me.
Doris hasn't believed in anything for years. Ever since her marriage
Oh, it wasn't just Doris. It was Sawyer. Now, he's contemptible, dishonest, selfish, vicious. Yet he's out there, and I don't want it, Fred. That's why I answered those questions incorrectly.
But, Kris, what happens to a lot of people, like me, who do believe in you and what you stand for? What happens to people like little Susan, just beginning to believe?
Susan?
Are you going to let her down? People like that?
Well, I hadn't thought of this, Fred.
Are you going to quit right in the middle of your job?
Gee, you're right, Fred. I'm ashamed of myself. Let's get out of here.
Not so fast, Kris. Getting in here was easy. Getting you out will be a lot harder.
Oh, not for you. You're a fine lawyer.
Perhaps, but
what?
You've been ordered committed to a mental institution.
Oh, I see.
However, I've requested a formal hearing, and it's been granted.
What the issue being, do I jingle the bells or do the bets run the belfry?
Doctors of Sanity of Santa who launched Goodwill campaign. Kringle crazy? Court case coming. Calamity, cry kitty.
Your Honor, the commitment papers being before you, I should like to call the first witness. Mr. Kris Kringle, will you please take the stand?
Delighted to do so, Mr. Prosecutor.
Mr. Kringle?
Your Honor?
This is merely a hearing. You do not have to answer the questions or even testify at all.
We've no objections, Your Honor.
Well, I'll be glad to answer any questions I can.
You may question the witness, Mr. Prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Tell us, sir, what is your true name?
Kris Kringle.
And where do you live?
Well, that's what this hearing will decide.
Mr. Kringle, Do you believe that you are Santa Claus?
Of course.
Perhaps the witness doesn't understand the question.
I understood the question perfectly, Your Honor.
In which case, Your Honor, the state rests.
In view of the defendant's statement, does counsel for the defendant wish to put in a defense?
Your Honor, the entire case against my client boils down to this. The prosecution contends that Mr. Kringle is not sane because he believes himself to be Santa Claus.
That is true.
But if Mr. Kringle were the person he believes himself to be, he would be as sane as we are.
Correct.
I intend to prove that Mr. Kringle is not insane because he is Santa Claus.
Fred, let's be sensible. You can't possibly prove that poor old man is Santa Claus.
Why can't I?
And he's not a poor old man.
Logic, Fred, not faith and hope wins out in court. That's just common sense.
And I guess in these last few years, you've developed too much common sense.
Well, one of us has to have it, Fred.
And both of us have to have faith, Doris. Or we're wrong for each other.
I see.
Even when I can afford it, we're wrong for each other.
Well, I'm going to pray for Santa Claus.
Mr. Kringle, dear.
Santa Claus.
December 23rd, 1949, Miracle on 34th Street on Classic Christmas Radio Theater.
Here's a great thing to consider doing right now before the end of the year. Call MediShare and find out just how much you would save by switching to MediShare, the affordable alternative to health insurance. When you call, you'll get some good news and probably be very happily surprised, too. The typical family saves $500 a month, but you might save even more. It's so worth it to at least find out. And you'll see why more than 400,000 people are already members. MediShare is a Christian community that's shared more than $4 billion in each other's healthcare costs. It really is remarkable, and they're very easy to talk to. And here's the thing. If you join before the end of the year, they'll waive your new member fee. That's another $170 you'll save. I'll give you the number here in a second. The call, and you'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is December 31st, so call now. You'll save even more. Call 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Our U.S. Constitution is amazing. It's full of what's called negative rights, designed to protect us from the corrupt powers of a dictatorship.
Like our right to worship our own God, not some official state religion.
Our right to prevent the government from seizing our property without paying fair market value for it.
Or our right to be tried by a jury of our peers, people like us, not by some star tribunal.
And that's why America has become the richest, most just society in the world.
Other countries force so-called positive rights onto their citizens. These enable one group to take from another group their free speech, money, and choice by using government force. Socialists love wielding this power over people.
Sometimes we take our freedoms for granted, but we can lose our Bill of Rights and our Constitution and become like Venezuela or North Korea, failed, brutal socialist regimes.
We need your help to spread the good news about our amazing U.S. Constitution. Help us take back America. Go to ouramericanrights.com.
Brought to you by the American Media Council.
And you're listening to Classic Christmas Radio Theater on your favorite station. Maureen O'Hara and John Payne were in the original production of Miracle on 34th Street. In this production, you have Natalie Wood appearing as the little girl, as she did in the original, and Edmund-Guenn as Kris Kringle. The show won 3 Academy Awards, the original movie, Gwenn for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Valentine Davies for Best Writing Original Story, and George Seaton for Best Writing Screenplay. Lux adapted a 1-hour adaptation of the movie 3 times, which starred the original cast, including Natalie Wood, and then it was on 1948 and 1954. 2 broadcasts on Screen Directors Playhouse, this half-hour production from 1949 and a 1-hour in 1950, and all of the adaptations had Edmund-Guenn reprising his original screen role. The conclusion of Miracle on 34th Street from the Screen Directors Playhouse 72 years ago, December 23, 1949, next, as Classic Christmas Radio Theater continues. Now on Classic Christmas Radio Theater, the conclusion of the Screen Directors Playhouse, Miracle on 34th Street, December 23rd, 1949, 72 years ago.
I mailed your letter to Santa, Susan.
Thank you very much.
Special delivery. He'll get it tomorrow. And now, Mr. Macy, I will turn the questioning over to a person you know. A person in whom I have the deepest confidence and belief. My client and your employee, Mr. Kris Kringle.
I don't know what to say.
Say it anyhow, Chris. Come on.
Well, they say that the man who pleads his own case is a fool for a client. But I won't let down anybody who believes in me.
You're a witness, Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I don't know what to ask you, Mr. Macy.
Just ask me anything.
Well, how are things at the store?
Pretty good, Chris.
Sorry I can't be with you.
So are we.
Your substitute Santa doing all right?
Oh, he's just another Santa Claus.
Oh, no, Mr. Macy, you mustn't say that. He isn't just another Santa Claus, any more than this Christmas is just another Christmas. It's the same Christmas, timeless and unchanging, with the same deeper meaning it always had. The same summons to all men to have faith, not in any one faith, but to have faith in themselves, in mankind, in each other. Because if all the earth be laid in ruins and all our yesterdays and all man's wonders become smoke and ashes, and man remains, well, then everything remains. For all we have on earth that matters is each other. And that's what Christmas is. A time for unselfishness, a time for each other, for goodwill and understanding, and deep respect for all our fellow men.
Your Honor, this... Oh, very well.
Christmas isn't just once a year. Christmas is always. Flowering, let's say, in late December. And your new Santa Claus isn't just another Santa Claus, Mr. Macy. To the purest minds and the most immaculate souls among us, I mean the little children, he is Santa Claus. Because they believe he is. And that's good enough for me, Mr. Macy. That's good enough for me.
It's good enough for me, too, Chris.
Mr. Macy, do you believe I'm Santa Claus?
I certainly do.
Thank you, Mr. Macy.
You're a witness, Mr. Prosecutor.
Your Honor, this is all very charming, but I must ask the court to demand that Mr. Gailey present competent authority. Competent authority, I say, for the contention that his client is Santa Claus.
Have you such authority, Mr. Gailey?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Will that be all, Fred?
Yes, Chris. For now.
Before you go, Mr. Kringle, the bailiff handed me this letter in care of this courthouse. It would appear to be for you. It's addressed to Santa Claus.
Oh?
The bailiff also informs me that the dead letter office of the post office department has forwarded some other mail addressed simply Santa Claus.
Well, that's very kind of them.
Your Honor! Where are those other letters? I requested they be entered in evidence.
I'm afraid that would be awkward, Mr. Gailey.
What do you mean awkward, Your Honor?
There are 9 truckloads of those letters.
Your Honor, counsel for the state has asked for authoritative testimony that my client is Santa Claus. The U.S. postal laws make it a criminal offense to misdirect mail or intentionally to deliver it to the wrong party. The Postal Department itself, therefore, recognizes this man, Kris Kringle, as Santa Claus.
Order!
Objection!
Order!
Objection!
Order, I say order. In view of such overwhelming testimony, case dismissed.
old when Fred and Kris Kringle got out on the courthouse steps. It looked and felt like a white Christmas, like a good Christmas, same as always.
What was in that letter anyhow, Chris?
Letter? Oh, clean forgot to open it. I'd better, though. It's from Susan.
I suspected it was.
Dear Chris.
Dear Chris, I don't care what anybody says, even the judge. I believe in you, even if I don't get the house. I know everything will turn out right. I hope you're not sad.
Signed,
Susan.
P.S.
P.S. I believe in you too, and in your legal counsel.
Signed.
Doris.
You know, Chris, it was Susan's belief and faith that made her write you that letter. It was her letter that gave the post office the idea of forwarding all those dead letters to you.
of course. A little child shall lead them.
She's a sweet little girl. I wish, you know, Fred, there's a little Cape Cod cottage for sale out near the old people's home. Be just right for 3 people. I can't afford anything right now. Well, looking at that house a few days ago, I said to myself, Chris, one good case to bring him fame, and Fred Gailey could buy that little cottage and make a little girl extremely happy. Chris.
And then Susan would know I'm Santa Claus.
Kris Kringle, did you hit Mr. Sawyer on the head to bring all this into court?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Chris, answer me straight. Who are you?
Me? I'm Kris Kringle.
Now, returning to our Screen Directors Christmas party, here's tonight's star, Edmund-Guenn.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think the 500 children in our Christmas party audience tonight are much more expert at this business of make-believe than we grown-ups. So many of us lose the magnificent gift of imagination. But when it does continue beyond childhood, we call it talent. Now, I would like you to meet the man to whom I owe so much. Writer-director of Miracle on 34th Street and of such other films as Apartment for Peggy and the soon-to-be-released 2 Corridors East. My author-director, George Seaton.
Thanks, Edmund. You know, watching these youngsters enjoy your performance tonight, I realize more than ever how an idea can grow into something real.
Well, you mean your idea for the Miracle story, George?
No. That wasn't mine. The original story and the novel were written by Valentine Davies. But I had the pleasure of following it through as a screenplay, a motion picture, and tonight as a radio play. And if the story managed to bring a little more Christmas into the lives of these wonderful kids, then Miracle on 34th Street has worked a small miracle of its own.
Well, then tonight, George, as the creator of the picture, you are really playing the part of Kris Kringle.
Oh, no. I'm still the director. And, Edmund, you are still Kris Kringle. And it's time you went to work. There are a lot of presents here on the stage and a lot of deserving youngsters to receive them.
Mr. Director, I never had a happier assignment. A very Merry Christmas.
And a Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
And a Merry Christmas to you, Edmund-Guenn and George Seaton. Our thanks to R.H. Baking Department Stores for their gift of 500 Christmas stockings for our little guest. The publishing firm of Simon & Schuster for its gift of 500 children's books, and at the country store of Beverly Hills Candies for its presentations to the children. Miracle on 34th Street was presented through the courtesy of 20th Century Fox, currently releasing the Darryl F. Zanuck production 12 O'Clock High, starring Gregory Peck, and Prince of Foxes, starring Tyrone Power. Edmund-Guenn appeared by arrangement with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, producers of the Technicolor musical On the Town, starring Gene Kelly, Frank Sinatra, and Betty Garrett.
December 23rd, 1949, 72 years ago, Miracle on 34th Street. If you thought that Christmas lights and making them bigger and broader and better was something that started with National Lampoon Christmas Vacation, no, it started at 79 Wistful Vista in this episode of Fibber McGee and Molly from December 22nd, 1955, 66 years ago.
Jingle bells, jingle all up. Wow! That dad rat hit it again. Oh.
You're getting pretty accurate, Sonny. That's the third time you've hit the same finger. That must take a lot of practice.
How long have you been standing there, you big torture lover?
What are you doing out in the cold here, anyhow, with all the wires and junk? Building a front yard booby trap for Santa Claus?
I, Doctor, am creating a little expression of peace and goodwill toward my fellow men.
Oh?
And fellow women, too, of course. Spreading a little Yuletide spirit. And hey, don't step on those boxes, Hamfoot. They're full of colored bulbs.
Oh, outdoor lighting deal, huh? Like Mort Toops has at his house?
Like Mort Toops has. That puny little display he's got.
Puny? It says Season's Greetings in letters 3 feet high, clear across the front of his house. It's the talk of the neighborhood.
Well, it won't be for long, my boy. I'm rigging up the outdoor lighting display to end all outdoor lighting displays, Fatso.
Oh, sure. Probably be the end of you, too. I had a patient last year who built his own front yard display.
Yeah?
Hooked the wiring up to the transformer on the corner.
Hey, I never thought of that. Smart idea. Got his electricity free for nothing that way, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Who was he? I know him?
I don't think so. He worked for the streetcar company.
Oh?
Been a motorman for 20 years, but when he hooked those wires of his onto the transformer, the motorman became a conductor. 7,000 volts.
Well, I'll hook mine up to the porch light or something. After all, it wouldn't be honest.
Oh, hello, Dr. Gamble.
Hi, Molly.
Say, what do you think of his Christmas lights idea, Doctor? Sounds good, huh?
I haven't heard it yet, Molly. And all I've seen so far is this nondescript pile of wires scattered across the lawn here. Looks like a barbed wire barricade put up by a cross-eyed street fighter on a dark night in Outer Mongolia.
Oh, Doctor.
Who ever heard of barbed wire with sockets on it, ignorance? Hey, if you guys will help me untangle this stuff and stretch it out across the lawn here, you'll see what I have bent this wire into all different shapes for.
Oh, spells out a message, huh?
Just you wait and see, Doctor.
Well.
There, grab that end. I'll take my end over this way.
That's the M you got, Doc. Take it way over there.
All right.
That's it. Way over against the fence.
Holy smoke. These letters must be 6 feet high.
Yep. Almost as big as you are wide, boy, and that's big. Lay 'em down. That's it.
Says Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? My goodness, those 2 words stretch clear across our whole lawn.
Just barely makes it, McGee. Congratulations. For once, you measured something correctly.
Oh, my gosh, doggone the luck.
What?
I got another section in the garage. The whole sign is going to say Merry Christmas to all.
Oh, fine.
Yeah. And in the middle is a big papier-mâché Santa Claus's head with a big red nose that flashes on and off. And on each end is a big candle made out of neon tubes.
Heavenly days.
I'll bring it out here. Gee whiz, after all my work, I just got to find room some way to put it up if I have to wrap it all the way around the house. That ought to hold it. Hold that ladder steady now. I'm coming down.
Good. Come down while you're still ahead.
How's it look from down there? Good, huh?
Very impressive, dearie. It really does.
You betcha. I'll bet there's not another family in Wistful Vista with a sign that goes all the way from their front porch roof clear across over the street to the other side of the street.
Mm-hmm. Ought to be exciting. The big Santa Claus head in the middle and all. Oh, I'm just dying to see it lit up. I hope it works.
What do you mean you hope it works?
Well, I mean it's almost dark and people won't be able to see the sign at all if the lights don't light, so I hope
Well, don't you worry about a thing, Mrs. McGee. You see these long copper wires here? I'm going to hook these up to the switch in the garage right now. And if anything goes wrong...
Yes?
I'd like the headstone to read, Here lies McGee, who I'll never forget. The shockingest man that I ever met.
What? You be careful now, McGee. Don't take any chance. I'm glad you came by, Mr. Wimple. He's going to turn it on any minute now.
My, that certainly is a big sign, all right. I can't make out what it says very well in the dark, but I bet it's something about Christmas.
You're a sharp one. Just wait till those lights come on.
Well, I'm all set, Molly. Ready to turn on the juice. Here we go.
Oh, will you look at that, Mr. Wimple?
My goodness, clear across the street. That's just breathtaking.
How do you like the big Santa Claus head?
With his red nose flashing on and off. Oh, that's cute.
Well, how do you like it, kiddo? Oh, hi, Wimp.
It lights up the whole neighborhood, McGee.
It's just beautiful, Mr. McGee.
Yeah.
And quite a tribute, too. But who is this fellow, Al?
Al?
In your sign there. Merry Christmas to Al, it says.
Oh, dear. That's supposed to be Merry Christmas to all.
Oh, for the... Dad ratted like a short circuit. I'll go cut it off at the main switch, and then I'll have to climb that ladder and check the wiring. I knew this was... Okay, Molly, hold that ladder steady. I'm coming down.
She's in the house getting warm again, but I'll hold it.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Wimp. I found the short okay, so... Hey, Molly, it's all set.
All right, McGee, I'm coming.
My, this sign is causing you a lot of trouble, Mr. McGee.
Ah, but it's going to be worth it, Wimp. This thing will outshine Mort Toops' display 1,000,000 times. You watch it now, Molly. I'll go throw the switch in the garage again.
Okay, hurry it up, though. I'm getting sleepy and it's cold out here.
After 10 o'clock, I should have been in bed.
Here we go, kids. There.
Bright, isn't it?
Is it on, Molly?
Yeah, but I'm afraid I have some bad news for you.
Huh?
Remember our friend Al? He just blacked out.
What?
Yes, and now it just says, Merry Christmas, too.
Oh, no. You mean after all my fixing, it's still... Oh, heck.
Well, if you can disconnect that word, too, it'll still say Merry Christmas.
All you need, really.
Yes, but...
And that big Santa Claus head with the red nose that goes on and off and on.
Doesn't go off anymore. It just stays on, doesn't it?
You know, I like it even better that way. Don't you, Mr. Wimple?
Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, it's much nicer.
Yeah, but I wanted
It's a wonderful sign. Very impressive. 3 times as big as Mort Toops'.
Yeah, but if that...
Oh, it makes Mort's sign look sick. Stretched clear across the street like this. It's tremendous.
Okay. I'll get back up the ladder and clip the little red wire to disconnect the word to and... No, I think it's the blue wire I ought to cut to get... No, that's for Santa's red nose. I don't know...
Never mind. Look.
The word to just went out too, Mr. McGee, all by itself.
Oh, swell.
Aren't you lucky?
Aren't we all?
Yeah, well, good night, Wimp. Come on, Molly. Let's lock up and get to bed. I'm bushed. Gee, that's a nice sign, though. Merry Christmas. That's just the right sentiment for this time of year. Molly, you sleep?
Yes.
Oh, no, I'm serious.
Look, if you're going to ask me to go to the window again and look at that beautiful sign of yours...
No, something woke me up. It sounded like an auto horn, and... You see? There it goes again.
Fine time to be honking a horn. It's after midnight.
My gosh, of all the inconsiderate... What the heck's going on out there? Can you see?
Well, those idiotic people. What are they... Oh, for heaven's sake.
Well, what is it?
Looks like a traffic jam right under your sign. There's cars clear to the corner, people getting out and taking a look.
No kidding, let me see.
There's a man with a camera, must be a newspaper man.
Well, I'll be... Hey, I'm going to be famous. I told Wimp this sign of mine would stop traffic, but I never... Boy, oh boy, isn't this something?
I can't understand why they're all... Oh, dear.
I'm going to grab my bathrobe and go down there. Maybe they want me to pose for a picture. What's the matter?
Don't go out there. I see the reason now for all the fuss and the traffic jam and all.
What is it? What you mean? What's the matter?
Look, all the lights on your sign are out except the big red light, dead center there, in Santa Claus's nose. They think it's a traffic signal.
What? Oh, my gosh. Are there any cops out there? Can you hear the cops? Uh-oh.
Does that answer your question?
Gee whiz, Molly, what can I do?
Quick. Duck downstairs, go out to the garage, and pull a switch on that sign.
Yeah.
I'll put a pot of coffee on and ask the policeman in because a hot cup of coffee on a night like this... I thought those policemen would never go home. A gallon of coffee they drank.
They turned out to be pretty good guys, though, at that. They said if I'd make one little change in that sign, I can turn it back on tomorrow.
Oh?
You know, it was that red light in Santa Claus's nose that caused the trouble. Everybody thought it was a stoplight. So, tomorrow, I'm going to change it to a go light.
A go light? You mean?
I mean that starting tomorrow, we'll not only have the largest greeting sign in town, but we'll have the only Santa Claus with a big green nose.
Should be lovely.
Yep, and different.
Go to bed.
Okay. So long, everybody.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
What did I tell you? December 21st, 1955, Fibber McGee and Molly. I have a web page with more information at classicradio.stream where you can learn more about classic radio collecting. Our pages are available also anywhere on the internet. where you search for USA Classic Radio Theater. On many stations, we have another hour straight ahead. If you're with us, we look forward to the pleasure of your company. If you leave us at this time, please accept our warmest wishes for a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous 2022.